Just a bloodbath of a market right now in cryptocurrency as I record on the 14th of November. We are Friday. TGIF, I suppose, but things are rough out there. Bitcoin down several $1,000s, down below 100K. Ethereum at one point was down 10% in the last 24 hours. So pretty tough conditions, certainly. And I find it a little bit weird. I've been talking about this. My observation has been that, especially in contrast to the S&P 500, which has been okay, down slightly, but certainly not to this extent. I find that juxtaposition weird between crypto and TradFi. Look, you're going to want to stay on this channel to get our sense and our technical analysis, what we think about this flash crash in the grander scheme of this crypto bull cycle, where we think it's going to go. Stay tuned for other videos relating to that specifically, but that's beyond the scope of what we're doing today. Whatever you feel about the current market situation, whatever you want to kind of take away from it, I'll leave that up to you. You can draw your own conclusions. If you choose at this point to harness your inner contrarian, and if you do feel like buying the dip, that's what we're about here today. And just to be clear, I'm not saying that's for everybody. I'm not saying that's what you should do. But if that's what you choose to do, then we're looking at 4 altcoin projects, all of them priced below $1. Psychologically, they appear cheap, even though we know that that's a bit of an illusion. It boils down to the market cap, not the individual unit price of the tokens. But psychologically, that does have an effect. And traditionally speaking, when the money pours back in, projects like these are the ones that have disproportionate, at least short-term gains. So again, your strategy is your strategy. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but if you have some dry powder lying around, if you want to buy the dip and are looking into altcoins that you feel have a pretty good chance, then we're counting down 4 altcoins whose tokens are under $1. Welcome to the channel. My name is Maddie, and this is Altcoin Buzz. Like I said, very, very tough times out there in this so-called bull market. So if you choose to invest, I genuinely do wish you well. Be careful out there. But yeah, I wish you well. Of course I do. Just remember, though, I am not a financial or investment advisor, nor is this video official financial or investment advice. Let us begin here at number 1 with Ondo Finance, ONDO. We're diving, of course, into the RWA realm with this, real world assets. And Ondo, of course, does represent the leader after Chainlink, I suppose, in the crypto space of real world assets. The recent big news was the introduction of the Ondo Global Markets that apparently I can't access where I am in Canada, but there you go, big news nonetheless. It's significant because that's where you can grow over 100 stocks on chain, and it's a number that we're told should grow to over 1,000 stocks, again, on chain. And of course, one of the advantages of this is that on-chain stocks, by their nature, are live 24/7. There are no closing hours, so this was a pretty massive launch and a pretty big moment for ONDO. However, I guess unfortunately the global markets are currently only available to institutional participants, which perhaps is not the greatest news for yourself or for myself as retail users. There's this whole onboarding process that includes KYC, and you also need to join a waiting list. But still, Ondo sees growing metrics. For example, TVL, total value locked, that keeps growing. Despite the rough market conditions, this is a figure that hit and has surpassed and has maintained a $1.8 billion level. Right now, $1.828 billion as I record. Daily volume has also been not too bad, as high as almost $12 million per day, lower right now. An interesting fact to see here is that there's almost no volume over the weekends, which I find kind of peculiar, but there it is. The numbers don't lie. Daily fees range anywhere between $69,000 and $230,000. Revenue's been growing as well, but is currently flat. So arguably, despite, tough overall conditions, which I haven't sugarcoated, despite that, the fundamentals, at least of Ondo Finance, look to be as strong as ever. The RWA sector is bound to grow to what some people say is going to be $16 trillion by 2030. I always say take that with a grain of salt, but that's what a lot of the projections are. Despite all that, despite some positives, some fundamentals, some good long-term projections, obviously the price of ONDO is lagging. It's down pretty significantly on the day and sits at just below 59 cents. So it's all of a sudden kind of as of, well, not recently, but it is now in that category of under $1 altcoin. It's got a $1.8 billion market cap. Look, Ondo is doing good things, and I think ONDO below $1 is a bargain in my book. Just be aware that there are scheduled yearly unlocks every year in early January. So depending on your strategy, you may be better off selling your bag and buying back in after the unlocking event. Maybe not, but just keep that in mind as a variable. This Altcoin Buzz Spotlight video is sponsored by CoinEx, which is perhaps one of the best exchanges you haven't heard of. Just like Gate.io or MEXC, they offer a lot of coins, but more importantly, they offer the high quality coins you actually want. And right now, for a limited time, all CoinEx users who deposit USDT on Plasma blockchain get up to 50% XPL cashback. During this event, the first 500 users who make a deposit of more than 50 USDT can earn cashback rewards. This is both for new users and for existing users. And of course, we're talking about the very well-known USDT stablecoin by Tether. All you need to do is make a deposit, again, of 50 or more USDT on the Plasma network. This campaign runs to 0800 hours on November 17th, 2025 UTC time. All CoinEx users who applied to the promotion page can participate, and everyone who qualifies gets to share a reward according to their ranking. So look, take advantage of the CoinEx Deposit USDT Plasma promotion and earn rewards in the process. Why not? Start today by setting up your account on CoinEx and earn your part of this prize pool. Be sure to click for details. You can find those in the description of this video. Next up, we look at Hedera and the HBAR token, around which there's all this big news concerning, of course, ETFs, exchange traded funds. There's actually already one HBAR ETF that is live. That is the Canary Spot ETF. And then in addition to that, there are no fewer than 14 other ETFs on waiting lists. So they have not yet been approved, but they're out there. Plus, don't forget we saw the addition of 2 new HBAR referenced ETFs. And the Canary HBAR ETF is also seeing consecutive days of inflows. In general, these ETFs have the potential to crank up the price of the HBAR token, kind of independent of the current market catastrophe that we are experiencing. Consider that the current Canary ETF has already locked in around 1% of all HBAR tokens. With another 14 ETFs in the pipeline, that's a percentage that could end up being much higher, at least potentially. This would mean that the HBAR tokens are temporarily out of circulation. Plus, it also means that HBAR becomes scarcer as a consequence, which in turn, according to theoretical economics at least, would be good for HBAR price development. There's also a lot else that's happening at Hedera. For example, the introduction of agentic DeFi. Here, through natural language, you can now buy, you can sell, and you can set conditional orders for Hedera tokens. And you can use the Agent Hustle UI for this, which opens up automated trading effectively. HBAR is down on the day 10%. And look, it's nasty. I'm not going to lie about that. But if we go back to last year, we have to remember that HBAR did a pretty massive 8x during October, actually, of last year, 2024. I'll leave it up to you as to whether or not this can reoccur, whether or not these kinds of numbers can be repeated. But certainly all these new ETFs on the horizon are a good thing. And right now the price of HBAR sits just below 16 cents. At number 3 here, we're moving on and looking at Stellar, XLM. We're moving into the realm of on-chain financial rails. And Stellar, by the way, is also active in the RWA sector. Stellar was recently selected to tokenize debt financing for hybrid solar plus battery projects. These were Turbo Energy, which is a NASDAQ-listed solar/storage firm, and infrastructure provider Taurus. This started with a pilot actually in Spain. And this represents a concrete example of building RWAs on Stellar, not just speculative promises, right? In this case, tokenized debt specifically. And this matters because it ties blockchain to physical infrastructure. Plus, regulated assets carry stronger fundamentals when it comes to value. Stellar also recently announced integration with Layer 0 Labs, and this enables its network to connect to over 150 chains and 500 assets. Just for context, last month alone, this integration moved an astonishing $38 billion cross-chain. So Stellar is not just a single chain solution here. Rather, it is positioning itself kind of as a glue or kind of like an adhesive layer in multi-chain value movement. And it's also taking full advantage of its low fee architecture, of course. The Stellar Development Foundation, or the SDF, reported growth during Q3 2025, especially in RWAs, DeFi, and the developer activity on Stellar. So this shows visible data of growth in usage, also assets, and ecosystem. In turn, ecosystem activity often precedes value accrual. And once again, that's theoretical because the price of XLM right now is at 26.5 cents. It's down over 7% on the day. But once again, we have a project that is fundamentally doing good things that is just being beaten down by a brutal market. And at that price, you're looking at a good deal for XLM, in my humble opinion. Last but not least here, at number 4, we're looking at Jupiter and JUP. This, of course, represents the top DeFi protocol on Solana. It's got over $2.8 billion in TVL, which is about, actually more than a quarter. It's about a 30% or so of Solana's total TVL, which right now is $9.35 billion. And there's a reason this dominance exists. Jupiter keeps building and also has a very strong community which exudes a lot of support, and they're also very involved. There's also a lot going on. In mid-October, Jupiter launched its Ultra V3 upgrade, which offers a new router that is named Iris with a meta aggregation engine, so it also offers the best prices. Additionally, it offers better protection against sandwich attacks, on the order of 34 times better. A sandwich attack is a form of market manipulation. In DeFi, victims can suffer financial losses. So that kind of thing erodes trust in DeFi platforms. It's a stain on the industry. And it enhances the user experience when you can mitigate against those kinds of risks. So 34 times better, as we're told. And this is something that should contribute to the price of JUP. And then again, going back to the Jupiter community, which is so strong, they took part in a governance vote concerning a token burn. And there was an 86% approval for a burn of 130 million JUP tokens. That's a good amount, about 4% actually of the circulating supply. And so it goes to show the strength of on-chain governance with strong community support, in contrast, of course, to unilateral team action, which we're not too fond of. This not only reduces future potential sell pressure, but it also demonstrates alignment between token holders and protocol governance. That is nice to see, certainly. Again, positives behind the scenes, fundamental strengths, but the price of JUP, look at that, down over 13% on the day, with a market cap now below $1 billion, $944 billion. So we're sitting at just above 29 cents. That's a bargain, in my opinion. There are a lot of crappy projects in crypto that are probably contributing to the market crash that we're seeing, but Jupiter is not one of them. It would be great to see the price of JUP back up around $1, but it's certainly heavily discounted right now.